My name is Izu. I'm 28 years old, and this is the story of how the man who spent his entire life convincing me I would never amount to anything eventually had to walk into my office and ask for my help. The envelope arrived on a Wednesday morning, April 20th, 2025, at 10:11 a.m. It landed on my desk along with the usual pile: merger pitches, partnership requests, expansion proposals. At Harrington and Cole, those came in nonstop. Smaller firms chasing relevance. Most never made it past a courteous rejection. My assistant, Laura Jenkins, placed the stack down neatly. "These need your attention," she said. "The Silvaline acquisition is time-sensitive, and there's also a partnership proposal from a Chicago firm that might be worth reviewing." Chicago made me look up. "Which firm?" I asked. She checked her tablet. "Walsh & Carter. Mid-sized. Around 45 attorneys. They're asking for a strategic partnership, overflow cases, access to our international reach." Walsh & Carter. My father's firm. I didn't react. Not outwardly. "Leave it with me," I said calmly. "I'll go through it later today." Once Laura left, I didn't open the envelope right away. I stared at it, let it sit. Nearly 6 minutes passed before I touched it. Inside was a carefully assembled proposal, 14 pages this time. Clean formatting. Practice breakdowns. Client portfolios. Recent case highlights. 5-year projections. On the surface, respectable. But the numbers told the truth. Revenue down 24% over the last 4 years. For major clients lost in the past 20 months. Partners nearing retirement with no real leadership pipeline. Costs rising. Productivity falling. This wasn't ambition. This was desperation. The signature page confirmed it. Richard Walsh. Daniel Harper. Evan Walsh. My father's name was first. The same man who once said I wasn't sharp enough for law. The same man who skipped my graduation because work came first. The same man who compared me to my older brother my entire childhood, like I was a failed experiment. And now he needed me. He just didn't know it yet. I picked up my phone. "Laura," I said, "schedule a meeting for tomorrow at 3 p.m. full presentation." "Who should attend?" she asked. "All senior partners," I replied. "Every single one." I ended the call and leaned back, gazing out at the city from my 45th floor office. Tomorrow was going to be unforgettable. My issues with my father didn't start in adulthood. They started early. I was 9 years old when I first overheard him say I wasn't built for law. It was a family cookout, July 6th, 2002. Someone asked about my grades, and before I could answer, my father laughed. "Izu's average," he said. "Smart enough, but not exceptional. Now Lucas, that kid's different. He's got the instincts." Lucas was 11. He'd won a middle school debate tournament, and my father treated it like a national title. That same semester, I had straight A's. Nobody noticed. By high school, comparisons were routine. Lucas joined debate. So did I. Lucas became captain sophomore year. Born leader, my father said. I became captain junior year. My father never showed up. Lucas went to Duke. I got into Yale. "Duke prepares you for real-world law," my father insisted. Lucas scored 167 on the LSAT. I scored 173. Scores don't measure courtroom instinct, my father told his friends. Lucas has presence. When I was accepted into Stanford Law, he barely reacted. "They accept plenty of people," he muttered. The breaking point came during winter break, December 16th, 2016. My father was hosting a dinner for his partners. I was helping my mother when I heard him talking in the living room. "Lucas is clerking for Judge Reynolds this summer," he said proudly. "Federal Appellate Court. That's how serious careers are built." Someone asked, "What about Izu? Isn't she in law school too?" My father chuckled. "She's doing fine, I guess. But she's not cut out for high-pressure law. Too soft. She'll probably end up doing nonprofit work or something small." Laughter followed. I walked in. "Actually," I said, my hands shaking but my voice steady, "I just accepted a summer associate position at Sullivan and Cromwell." Starting pay is $3,810 a week. Silence hit the room. My father's face hardened. This isn't appropriate, he snapped. You're right, I said. It wasn't appropriate to make me a joke. But you did. I left that night, packed a bag, took the first flight back. He called the next morning. You humiliated me. You've been doing that to me for years, I said. I'm done chasing approval you'll never give. He never apologized. I graduated May 18, 2018, top 5 in my class. Law review, multiple elite offers. My father didn't attend. Lucas did. My mother came, quiet, uncomfortable. My father mailed a card with $510 inside. Congratulations. Best of luck. That was all. I started at Sullivan and Cromwell in October 2018. The hours were merciless. People burned out. I didn't. Every time I felt close to quitting, I remembered his voice telling me I didn't have what it took. 7 years later, I made partner. In 2023, Harrington and Cole recruited me. In 2025, I became the youngest managing partner the firm had ever had. We employed 1,300 attorneys, operated in 14 countries, advised nearly 45% of Fortune 100 companies, and generated $8.7 billion annually. I ran everything. My father had no idea. We hadn't spoken in nearly 9 years. So when Laura buzzed me at 2:50 p.m., saying the Walsh and Carter delegation had arrived, I smiled. Conference room A, I said. Offer them coffee. I'll be there shortly. At 3:09 p.m., I walked in. 3 men stood. Older, well-dressed, but stuck in another era. My father didn't recognize me, and that was exactly how I wanted it. We're here to see if there's mutual benefit, my father said, trying to regain control of the room. I nodded slowly. Then let me ask you something, I replied. What happens if we say no? No one answered. I leaned forward slightly. What's your plan B? Silence. Because from where I'm sitting, I continued, you don't have one. You're losing clients. Revenue has been falling for years. Your leadership is aging out. Without outside intervention, your firm is headed toward a slow fade into irrelevance. My father's face flushed. That's an extremely harsh assessment. It's an accurate one, I said calmly. Your financial projections are overly optimistic. Your client retention assumptions aren't realistic. And your value to Harrington and Cole is minimal. I closed the folder. Gentlemen, I appreciate you coming in, but I don't see a strategic fit. Wait, my father snapped. You're ejecting us? Just like that. Unless you have something new to add. His voice rose. We have over 40 years of excellence. We built one of the most respected firms in Chicago. We've represented Fortune 500 companies, won landmark cases, trained generations of lawyers. You're dismissing all of that because of a few rough years. There it was. The ego. The inability to accept that he was no longer the most important person in the room. I'm dismissing it, I said evenly, because it doesn't meet our strategic needs. Harrington and Cole partners with firms that bring unique value. I'm not seeing that here. He stood up abruptly. This is absurd. We came here in good faith. And I reviewed your proposal in good faith, I replied, remaining seated. The answer is no. You're making a mistake. I rarely do, Mr. Walsh. He stared at me, angry, humiliated, and then something changed. His eyes narrowed, studying my face more carefully. Recognition flickered. Izu, he said slowly, uncertain. I stood. Hello, Dad. The color drained from his face. Daniel Harper looked between us, confused. You know each other? Richard Walsh is my father, I said. We haven't spoken in nearly 9 years. Evan Walsh leaned back heavily. Oh my God, he murmured. You're Izu Walsh. I go by Izu Cole professionally, I said. My mother's maiden name. It's been my legal name for 7 years. My father looked stunned. You're the managing partner of Harrington and Cole. For almost 2 years now. Before that, I was a senior partner at Sullivan and Cromwell. He swallowed. But you wouldn't know, I continued. You haven't asked about my career since I graduated from Stanford Law, which you didn't attend. Daniel stood slowly. Richard, you said you had 2 children. A son who's a lawyer and a daughter who…
He stopped.
Who what? I asked quietly. Who wasn't cut out for law. Who'd end up doing nonprofit work. Who didn't have what it takes. My father looked physically ill. Miss Cole, Evan said carefully, perhaps we should reschedule. There's nothing to reschedule, I replied. The answer is still no. Izu, please, my father began. It's Miss Cole, I corrected. We're not on a first-name basis. This isn't about our personal relationship, he said desperately. Isn't it? I met his eyes. You spent my entire life telling me I wasn't good enough, that my brother was the real lawyer. You skipped my graduation. You didn't call for 9 years. And now you walk into my firm asking for help. I expect professionalism, he said weakly. I expect the same objectivity you showed me. I shot back. Was it business when you told your partners I'd end up doing small cases? When you said I was too soft to succeed? When you skipped the most important day of my academic life? Silence. That's the problem, I continued. You never saw me as a lawyer. You saw me as your disappointing daughter. And now you need me, and you can't handle it. I was wrong, he said quietly. I paused. I was wrong about you, he continued. About your ability. About everything. I waited. You've built something extraordinary, he said. Managing partner at 35. One of the most powerful firms in the country. I should have known. I should have stayed in touch. He stopped, voice breaking. I'm sorry. 8 years. 8 years of silence, and the apology came now in a glass conference room with witnesses because he needed something. Your apology is noted, I said. It doesn't change my decision. Please, he whispered. The firm is my life's work. 40 years. If we don't find a partner, we won't survive. Then maybe you should have planned better, I replied. Succession. Retention. Strategy. Those failures aren't my responsibility. You're letting us fail to punish me. I'm letting you fail because your proposal doesn't make business sense. The fact that you're my father is irrelevant.
He looked at me.
Is it? Or are you enjoying this? That hit harder than I expected. This meeting is over, I said. As I turned to leave, he spoke again. You're right, he said. About all of it. I failed you. I was a terrible father. I stopped. I don't expect forgiveness, he continued. Or help. I just need you to know I'm proud of you. The room was painfully quiet. I'll review the proposal again, I heard myself say. He looked up sharply. What? 1 week, I said. If I can find a structure that benefits Harrington and Cole, I'll consider it. Thank you. Don't, I cut in. This is business, not forgiveness. I met his eyes. And if we move forward, you report to me. Your firm follows our rules. If you can't handle your daughter being your boss, walk away now. He swallowed. I can handle it. We'll see. I left the room. 5 minutes later, Laura knocked. They've gone. Are you okay? I'm fine, I said. Hold my calls for an hour. Alone in my office, hands shaking, I stared out at the city. He'd apologized. And I'd agreed to reconsider. Over the next week, my team dug deep. The weaknesses were obvious, but so was the opportunity. Not a partnership. An acquisition. Harrington and Cole would buy Walsh and Carter outright for $20 million. The partners would transition out. The talent would stay. Chicago would become ours. On Friday afternoon, I called him. Richard Walsh. It's easy. He exhaled. I was hoping. I have a counteroffer, I said. Not on the phone. Come to New York tomorrow. Alone. Tomorrow's Saturday. I know. There was a pause. I'll be there. I watched his expression shift as he read. First confusion. Then understanding. You want to buy us? He finally asked. Yes, I said. For $20 million. Based on your current financials, it's a fair valuation. We'd lose the firm. Lose control. You'd lose ownership, I corrected. But you'd save your clients. You'd protect your associates. And you'd preserve your legacy. He flipped through the pages again. Walsh & Carter would continue as a subsidiary of Harrington and Cole. Your name stays on the door. 2-year transition. Advisory roles. Then of counsel positions. He looked up. And afterward, I'd be working for you. Yes. He gave a dry laugh. My daughter would be my boss. Yes. He set the folder down and studied me. Is this revenge? No, I said without hesitation. This is business. And it's the cleanest solution. He frowned. There's no partnership option? There is, I said. But it wouldn't be kind. I could structure something that keeps you dependent, just enough support to survive, not enough to grow. We'd drain value from your client base while your firm slowly withered. I paused. Or we do this properly. You get paid fairly. Your people are protected. Your firm transitions with dignity. In 2 years, you retire instead of watching everything collapse. He stood and walked to the window, staring out at the Manhattan skyline. 40 years, he said quietly. I built that firm from nothing. 3 lawyers in a cramped office back in 1989. We grew it. We mattered. It still can, I said. Under Harrington and Cole, the Walsh name will reach further than it ever could alone. Your associates will have opportunities you couldn't give them. Your clients will get resources you couldn't provide. But it won't be mine. No, I said gently. It won't. He turned back to me. Why are you doing this? You could have just said no. Let us die quietly. I thought for a moment. Because you were right about one thing, I said. You did build something worth saving. Walsh & Carter is a good firm. It doesn't deserve to disappear because of market shifts and bad planning. I hesitated. And because your associates deserve better. I know what it's like to work hard for someone who never sees your value. The implication hung between us. I wasn't talking about you, I added. But if it fits. He actually smiled. Fair enough. He returned to the desk. If I agree, can I ask for one thing? What? Can we try to rebuild something? Not just business. Father and daughter. I studied him. I don't know, I said honestly. 9 years is a long time. You hurt me deeply. I know, and understand this, I continued. I don't need your approval anymore. I built my career without it. I know that too. So, what are you asking? A chance, he said, to know who you've become. Something cracked in my chest. We can try, I said carefully, but slowly, and it won't look like the past. I understand. And if you compare me to Lucas one more time, I added, we're done professionally and personally. He laughed softly.
Fair.
Though for what it's worth, Lucas is intimidated by you. Good. We sat quietly. Will you take the offer? I asked. Can I discuss it with Daniel and Evan? Of course. You have until Monday. But this is the only offer. He nodded. Understood. At the door, he paused. Izu, I really am proud of you. Yes, I said. You should have been. Epilogue. My phone rang Monday morning at 8:52 a.m. Izu Cole, I answered. It's Richard. We're accepting the offer. Unanimously. I exhaled. We'll close in 65 days, I said. My team will handle the paperwork. Thank you, he said, for giving us dignity. It's good business, I replied, though I was smiling. The acquisition closed on June 29, 2025. Walsh & Carter became a wholly owned subsidiary of Harrington and Cole. The transition went smoothly. Richard, Daniel, and Evan handled it professionally. Associates stayed.
Clients stayed.
Lucas called me 2 weeks later. Just wanted to say thanks, he said. You didn't have to do this. I didn't do it for family reasons. I know. Still, Dad talks about you nonstop now. I laughed. Of course he does. My father and I began having dinner once a month. Awkward at first. Then easier. One night he admitted, I was threatened by you. You reminded me of myself and I couldn't handle that. Good, I said. You should sit with that. 6 months later, I promoted 3 former Walsh associates to partner. My father attended the announcement. You saved their careers, he said. They earned it. A year later, he retired. We threw him a party, over 200 people. During my speech, I said, "You weren't always the father I needed, but you unintentionally gave me the strength to become the lawyer I wanted to be."
He cried.
So did I. Later, on my office balcony, he asked, "Are we okay?" "We're getting there," I said. And for the first time in my life, that was enough.